What's up, everyone? Welcome to FloTrack's College Cross Country Ranking Show presented by HOKA. My name is Nia Gibson. I am here with the one and only Bryan Deibel, and of course, joined with us is Chrissy Gear and John Davern. How are we feeling, guys? Last one, best one.
Oh, I'm so
Let's
amped to
go.
talk about this. I can't wait to hear everyone's post-run thoughts. I feel like there's so much, and I know there's gonna be a lot of things that I missed. So I'm excited to see what y'all have picked up.
Yeah, I'm excited you're excited, Chrissy, because I know it's not 3 business days later, like you said, you need to really digest everything that's been happening, but happy to have you. So let's get right into it then. Guys, what a weekend. We have Doris Lemngole, who defended her crown and once again claimed the NCAA Cross Country title, and what a race it was. Broke a record. We'll be talking to her later. You'll see me and Bryan had the opportunity to talk to Doris, so we'll have a clip of that into the show. You can make sure to watch the entire clipped out interview separately on YouTube. But what, Queen Doris, she does it. How are we feeling about that one, guys?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
I don't want to. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to be that guy, but I mean, called it.
Right. We had that.
Y'all did.
What did you guys have?
Yeah, I had, but in my defense, my thing was, obviously Doris is Doris, right? But if anyone could do it, if there was gonna be a true freshman to do it, I was like, okay, that it's Jane. So let me see what can happen there. How are you feeling about that one, Chrissy? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say she just ran away with it. That last 1K. I think I'm still not 100% sure, but I think Jane slipped a little bit. She said in her post-race interview that she stayed on her feet. I think she just kind of misunderstood the question. But I'm pretty sure she did slip just a tad, and just you saw that gap get created. I kind of wish she didn't slip, because that would have been a finish for the ages if they were both coming down the straight side by side. But nevertheless, just a really dominant performance from Doris. NCAA championship meet record in that one. So, yeah, really cool to see.
I mean, it was a fast race overall. The top 6 women broke the past championship record. So, I mean, that goes to say with the direction cross country is going in. Chrissy, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I hope that the fans who watched it don't think that Jane's second place finish detracted from her performance at all. What she did was fantastic. John and I have been texting back and forth a little bit this season, and after her debut, Jane's debut, I was like, "Are you, where do you think now?" And he was like, "I don't know. I still think Doris #1." And then after Jane's conference performance, I was like, I was under the impression it would take sub 18:30 to win the meet, and my putting Jane above Doris came from the fact that we hadn't seen Doris run anything like that yet. Was she capable of it? Most likely. I was like, yeah, I feel like she's capable, but I've seen Jane consistently prove that she can. So until I feel like I see that from Doris, I'm gonna give Jane the nod. And yeah, I was so wrong. John had great insight. He was like, everyone's just disrespecting Doris, and they were. I think both women ran absolutely fantastic races. I don't know if either of them could have run any better. But yeah, this is my public apology to Doris Lemngole. I'm sorry if you feel disrespected. Totally valid, but both of them were so great.
No, I couldn't agree more. I'd say Jane definitely probably had some recency bias on her side as well, and the excitement was there. So, yeah, Doris, I have never been happier to be wrong. On the men's side, though, Hoptum Samuel finally gets it done. 3rd time's a charm, and with both shoes this time. You can see it written all over his face in that picture. The victory was oh so sweet, and he could finally say he is a national champion. Chrissy, let me start with you again. Thoughts?
Okay, so I commented on this in another video where the result wasn't surprising, but the way he went about it was, especially because we saw that monster move from him back at Nuttycombe about 2K out. And so I thought it'd be fair to assume that's what we were going to see at the NCAA Championships. And I was standing there between 8K and 8.5. So, kind of only around that turn with my agent. My agent was like, I'm kind of surprised to see Hopton back where he is. And I was like, yeah, I am too. I feel like he's gonna make a move on this back half that we're gonna miss. I was like, is he waiting till the downhill starts, which I think would be a bad call because I feel like it's where everyone's going to want to make their move, you know? And I swear I missed that move by 20 seconds. I was so upset. And he made a move where no one was expecting it. It was so impressive. I watched the video back and I was like, holy cow. Like even my sisters who aren't runners, you know, like they saw the video and they were like, what, what was that? Like, that was so impressive. Yeah, I'm really bummed that I missed that, but it was crazy. Like seeing him come around and just no one's near him. And I was like, I missed the move, you know? But sorry, I'm obviously super high on Hoptum, but Rocky was amazing, you know, like just seeing him as close as he made it. I loved his post-race comments and how he was like, you know, I should have been a little more wary of Hopton. I can't believe I forgot about him and I'm not gonna let that happen. So I think it's gonna be a really good showdown for next year, but not to get too far ahead, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun indoor season. We still have a lot of running to see. So, John, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll be quick with it. I mean, it was a 2:37K, that 9K where he took off. That's just unreal. I mean, that means he split like 2:05 through that, like the last 800 of that K, because he really didn't make his move until 800 to go. So it was actually probably faster. It was probably like a 2 flat 800 where he just took off and made that gap. It's just hard to comprehend. Like, actually hurts my soul a little bit that someone could just put on a move like that. And obviously that gap was created between him and Rocky right there. And he was just able to maintain it over that final 1K, really. I mean, they both split. Rocky's last K was a 2:45, whereas Hoptum's was a 2:44. So, I mean, really, he just made that gap in the 9K and just was able to maintain just a vintage performance. And we need to give him more credit as one of the greatest cross-country runners in NCAA history. I don't think he's on a Mount Rushmore by any means. Like, it's hard to be on the same list as like Edward Cheserek, but I mean, he's finished top 2 3 years in a row now, and if he continues and runs XC next year with New Mexico, he could easily make that a 4th year in a row. And so we have to start considering him one of the greatest NCAA cross-country runners in history. Again, really hard to kind of top what Edward Cheserek has done, but I think that's kind of the company that he's in now.
Okay. Bryan?
Yeah, I think you guys were maybe wrong on the women's side, and John and I were wrong on the men's side. But I'm so happy I was wrong, because like honestly, like Rocky Hansen was a more of a heart pick, an outside chance. You know, you got to take one of those underdog kind of shots in the dark, and that's what I think like we did with Rocky. But to see Hoptum finally get that, like just watching him do the plane across the finish line, like it was just so exciting. It was incredible. I think that guy, you know, I think a lot of people are deserving, but he is very deserving, obviously, to be able to do what he's done and just like John said, put himself maybe on the Mount Rushmore of distance running in a way, a bit after, you know, 2 top 2 finishes and a number 1 performance. So
yeah,
really incredible. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. He really like wanted it when he
Yeah,
saw that he was going to win and he was going to have national title next to his name. You could tell he wanted it, and he finally got it, and really made sure he did the work to make sure that was a thing.
Yeah, and I think both Doris and Hoptum, just when they made their decisive moves, they just made it. And like I rewatched the race today because I had to just, you know, it's hard when you're kind of running around the course. But like Chris, because I also missed the move, like Christy said, like I was like, wait, what? He's all of a sudden like he was like, it was just blink of an eye, gone. He was way up ahead, and he like took it from fairly far out, like 8K is you know, and so he just knew he had it, like he had it in his body, like. They had that slight incline going up where the 3K, 2K split is, and that's where I saw him kind of on the inside just go for it, and he went, and it was incredible. It was much like Doris coming down the last hill and around the corner, getting it there. So two amazing races individually, for sure.
Amazing. Great analysis, guys. Let's go on to the team side. The Oklahoma State men secured the national title, kind of as we all predicted, with the clean sweep. And then on the women's side, NC State also captured the women's championship. Is it time to start putting them on the Mount Rushmore too? Or maybe even their coach? No?
Yeah, what is this? Like 5 in the last 6?
4 of the last 5, I believe.
Listen, the Wolfpack, they're doing their thing.
But that's like...
You got to start, I feel like you have to start having them in certain conversations.
Yeah, we just have to define what those conversations are, I guess, right? Like, there have been definitely dominant streaks. Like, I think about the Villanova women back in, I don't even know what years, but the early history of NCAA championships, Villanova won like, I don't know, 5 straight or something like that. Now I'm like looking it up as I'm on the show here, but I'm very curious to see where they kind of rank in all time wins. So I don't know about NC State. Oklahoma State definitely not on the Mount Rushmore quite yet in terms of like this team was dominant. Don't get me wrong, but you look at some years, and I think me and Brian were like researching because we got like super curious. And I think there was one year, Brian, I don't know if you remember the team, but they scored 17 points. Oh, was it UTEP? It was UTEP in like the 80s.
UTEP, yep.
UTEP in the 80s scored 17 points at the NCAA championship, which is just like unreal. The margin of victory was like 100 and something points, whereas this was a really good performance. Don't get me wrong, really dominant. It's just not on that level.
Dang, tough crowd. Okay. But as we talk about the Oklahoma State men, I'd love to start talking. Oh, first, sorry. There was another thing that happened that kind of people on Twitter was going a little crazy about. I have an aerial shot here of the course, and people were course cutting. People were kind of running inside the haystacks and all that good stuff. People were questioning it a bit. Spoiler alert, nobody got disqualified. There were no protests filed. But what do you guys think of this? Or if you guys were watching on TV, what were your thoughts? Because I definitely raised the eyebrow a bit, and I was wondering maybe am I missing something? Or, I don't know, thoughts?
I didn't realize how. No, go, John, go.
Oh, sorry. We have this like delay. We're like battling here. It's for me, it was one of those things. It was weird because I was like one of the few people on the course that actually saw it. Now, I think people on TV, they're like, oh my God, why did no one protest? They don't realize how hard it is for media or coaches to see that. Most of the coaches are out on the course, so they're not actually by the big screen, by the finish line. And so I doubt many coaches even knew it happened until outside that protest period. Like, and then another issue with protesting is you don't know if your own athletes were doing it, right? And until you have a time to review the footage and see what's actually on TV, do you really want to protest and risk your own team's finish? And outside of that, you also like, you don't want to be a scummy coach with like maybe your individual finished like 38th, right? And you're like, I don't want to mess up the team scores if I only have one individual in this race. So it kind of limits how many coaches I think would be willing to protest. I think maybe if your team's in the top 10, you're maybe willing to protest. I don't know. Maybe some coaches would be. I don't know if my team finished 20th, I'm not willing to protest and like screw over another team, especially if I don't have the full picture and I don't know exactly what happened out there, right? I don't know. Maybe that's an ethics decision, but I think people don't realize how hard it is to see that stuff when you're out on the course, especially if you're a coach, positioned at the 1K mark or whatever. Really, I only saw it because I was standing by the finish line. I'm watching the big screen, waiting for the finisher so I could get my interviews in. And so that was the only reason I saw it, and some other media members saw it. But if you're not in that situation, you're not going to see it.
Fair, very fair.
Yeah, like John said, it's a little different when the coaches are on the course. I didn't realize the extent of like how bad it was and how much it had been recurring like early on to the race. And, I just assumed like it's just a factor. It like shouldn't happen because there's obviously clear delineations of what the course is. But I'm a little more understanding when it's early on the race and everyone's trying to get out and you're packed up and like I'm on the edge of the course with a bunch of spectators and the athletes are coming really close. And they're like over the line. And we were like, oh, and we realized they weren't getting back. And so, a bunch of us had to step back like, whoa. And that was just the limited parts of the course that I was on, like super early on. And then seeing footage played back later, realizing it was happening like throughout the race. It is definitely frustrating as a fan and as someone who believes in the integrity of the sport, even something as like cheesy as that. But I do think it's a very complex process where it's like you're not able to see the whole picture. Until much later on and like after the race, and some people have their own it's watching the whole race again from the ESPN stream, or it's going online and seeing individuals footage coming up, and by that point there's a protest window. Usually it's like, I don't know, depending on what race you're at, an hour or 2 hours, and so it's like we can't go back and like be like, hey, I know we named our national champ team and individual and all that, but like actually those results don't count, like come back an hour later. So yeah, I think it's a little complicated process, but
Come back an hour later. We'll tell you if you actually won.
honestly.
I have a bit of a hot take. I don't condone cheating. I'll just be straight up with that. But I don't care about this. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I think.
Really?
Yeah, like I was out there on the course, and shit, if you want to run on that little patch of grass that's like mowed down to ankle deep and in the potholes and the crap, go for it. And you know what? That course, the way the tangents and the corners and the turns are, the amount of gain that probably got them isn't enough to be like substantial. I do think places are very close. So maybe a place, maybe two, but I don't think it like substantially changes all that much, especially like in the team ranking side of things. I think maybe individually, I think I could see some individuals being kind of mad at how their place finished out, especially if you're like just on the cusp of All-American. That's where I think it would be more effective in my mind, is like, shit, this guy got 39 or 40th, 39th, and I'm, and he was cutting the course and I wasn't. But honestly, it looks like mostly, to be honest, it was the top like 20 guys who were doing it, which is, it's insane, because why are you doing that? Like, and also you're running and exerting more effort going on that uncut, the longer cut grass. So in the long run, you're actually probably hurting yourself equally as much or more, in my opinion. And then plus, we saw it with the Iowa State guy. Like, if you keep watching the footage and not just see the screen grab, he fell flat on his face. So that's kind of what you deserve. And feel free to mark my words. Like, if you're gonna cut the course, you're gonna end up in the grass and the dirt. He at that time had moved back into the course and caught the hay bale still, but like, you shouldn't have been on the inside of the course. Mm-hmm. Don't do it. That's just the simple rules. But do I have an issue with it because I think it overall affected the team score? I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I know. I definitely agree with that.
I think John has something to say because he's been shaking his head at me.
I think you're crazy for not having a problem with it, just because it's like, it's insane to me. The part that's insane to me is that what's going through the Oklahoma State guys and the Iowa State guys when they're cutting the course. It's like, you're in the team battle. Why are you even like jeopardizing your team finish at all?
Maybe I have to rewatch it, but the biggest guy was the Arkansas guy who finished. I want to say it was, where is it? I got the results. It was I swear the Arkansas guy, Timothy. I think it was him. 5.33. It looked like it was him, but he finished 19th. There was a lot.
There was a lot.
But there was that really bad. I agree for the most part, where it's like, yeah, it doesn't really advantage them. But there was like a very distinct clip where several people came on the inside, like inside the hay bales, and kind of cut around, whereas like the leaders of the pack went wide to get around a mud pit. And so you're looking at like a couple of seconds right there.
Yeah, but then if
you know, it's like, that's where I feel like, I agree. It's in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't shake up the team rankings, and it's like, it probably don't make that much of a difference. But I hate to be a person, because I hate people say this, but it's like, it's the principle of it, And I hate people like, it's the principle of it. No. But it really, I don't know, for me it is like, you didn't. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little frustrating, but
I fully agree with you. It's the principle of it. It's wrong. It's not right. But does it really bother me? It honestly doesn't bother me that much. I don't know why. Like, it bothers me that it's wrong and it's not correct.
That's fair.
But as far as like how things shook out, I don't think in the grand scheme of things it makes that big a difference, because the grass was so much longer. I just remember being out there and I'm like, I was running through that, and that's not fun to run through. Not saying that like, everybody should cut the course like and run through the hard grass. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, if they're coming on the inside on this curve, they're probably going to be on the outside on the next curve, because the way the course winds and curves so much, you're going to run the longer part the next time around. So, I don't know.
You know what pissed me off about it? You know what pisses me off about it? The woman didn't cheat, right? The woman ran the course. And as a result, the course got torn up, which I was hoping it would get torn up. I was hoping the course would be a mud fest, especially after the women like went through a couple of times. And that's exactly what happened. What pisses me off is that in the exact clip that Christy's mentioning, those guys did have to swing wide to avoid the mud. They were running true cross country. And I know the grass was higher, a little bit like less smooth on the inside, but they still avoided that in a way where they gained an advantage, in my opinion.
Fair.
I just think, I mean, there was the one clip where you saw like them making up so much ground. Like when all the rest of the field is naturally getting pushed to the outside, it causes a little bit of a backup. And so you're naturally going to trip up on other guys' ankles as they're trying to jump out. They avoided that because they're just running in a straight line with, 5 deep. So I don't know. I think I'm on Chrissy's train here. You and Nia are on a different island. I don't know,
think
actually
Nia
know when
agreed with
Nia.
me. I don't think
My
she agreed
thing
with me.
was-
I think, like, I'm not going to vote Nia into my hot take.
What I was saying was, I agree in the sense that it's not a huge deciding factor of who's going to win or lose, but I hate that, is it worth the risk of somebody being like, wait a minute, I must have filed a protest? Because we all have seen it. In cross country and track and field, you name it, there will be someone who, I'm going to file a protest because you impeded my lane, and they ain't really impede anything for real. Maybe like they stepped on the white line like once or twice, and technically speaking, sure, trying to get someone else, they can bump up a few spots or be in like a runner-up position for a national title, but something that's wildly insignificant. We have seen it happen, especially in this sport. So it's almost like, is it worth it? But I could leave that one open-ended. Moving along. So as we talk about things that got a little choppy, Oklahoma State's Coach Dave, he had some stuff to say. He sounded off in the press conference prior to NCAA Cross Country National Championships. Here's a clip.
You know, I'm not going to get dragged into throwing shots at each other across the bow about the way we run our programs. I have no problem with anybody running their program within the rules and doing things the way they should be done. If someone doesn't like a rule or doesn't like a situation in the NCAA, don't bitch about it. Go change it. Get involved in the sport, get involved in leadership, and make change the way change is supposed to be made. Otherwise, shut up and coach your team. That's what I think about this stuff.
So for context, everyone, Coach Dave Smith is essentially responding to people criticizing him for having the amount of international athletes that he has on his team. And this was basically, listen, don't say none, won't be none. If you want a change to happen, make the change happen. Until then, do you, I'll do me. I can start with you, Bryan. Thoughts?
Oh, you're starting with me this time.
I'm starting with you this time.
Oh, man.
Give us your hot take.
Yeah, I think my take is pretty in line with everybody else on this one. I kind of want to break down a little bit what was said a little before that. It's just like, you know, because this was a really hot button issue after this, and I think it has been just like overall in the conversation with, you know, Jane versus Doris and Oklahoma State versus like a BYU, like, and that's where it originally stemmed from, was a comment from Coach at Icestone. But I do think, you know, one thing that Dave said is like, I have a tremendous amount of respect for all my competitors and for everybody in the sport. Like, we're not like other sports where we're standing across the sidelines screaming at each other. We are in the trenches, neck and neck, every meet, every race, talking with each other, like beside each other. And I want to win just like my competitors want to win. Yeah. But he said, you know, he has no problem with like the way people running, you know, just what the quote said. It's like, you don't have, I don't know. I don't think, I agree with Dave is what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to like lose my train of thought. But I agree with what Dave had to say. I think just it makes sense. Like, if this is the rules are the rules. The coaches did have a vote, I heard from some other coaches, that they tried to change the rule. They tried to implement 25 years old is the cutoff in the NCAA. And if you turn 25 years old and, you know, you're supposed to run the meet after that, you don't get to. You're 25 years old. You're past the date of being able to run the NCAA. And apparently that got voted down. That got vetoed. So apparently there has been change and progress trying to be made at this level. And the other thing too is like, I think my big point that I was going to try to make was, this isn't anything new. Like, there's been international athletes in the sport for forever. I was trying to look back at that 1983 cross-country team that scored 17 points from UTEP. They had a bunch of international athletes. Like, that's just the nature of the beast, the nature of the sport. Edward Cheserek, like, you know, from Oregon, ran for them. Like, there's just all these names and people in the sport that have gone through. And I think that's the beauty of it, is like, this is not an American league. It's like, it is an international league. Yeah, we call it an All-American at the end of the day, but it's not. It's like the best runners. That's just because every single other sport, basketball, volleyball, golf, whatever, they also call them All-Americans because, yeah, it was started as a national, you know, national collegiate sports, but like, it's international at this point. And I think, you know, Dave made a great point. If you want to, you can do what I'm doing, like, and nobody's stopping you. Like, and I think the other thing too is being heavily and highly scrutinized even more so due to social media and people wanting attention and wanting clicks. And I think we have this attention span of like, now, I have to focus on things like right here in this very moment. And I think that, you know, when you step back and look at things like this something's been going on for a while. So like, if this wants to be changed by the coaches or wants to be changed in the organization, there's been chances, I'm sure, probably more than just the one, to change it. And it doesn't seem like anybody wants to actually act on that. I just think it's a lot of social media and a lot of pressure on the coaches to also win. That's another thing too, is like you want to get the best team, recruit the best possible athletes to win. Like we see it in football too. It's like if you're not winning after a certain amount of years or a certain amount of time you've been a head coach, you're out. Goodbye, you're done. You know, there's just a lot more pressure on coaches, on athletes, on people to produce the times. And I don't think I personally don't fault anybody for wanting to go out and build the best team. It doesn't matter who it's made up of, you know?
I
That's
couldn't
my
agree
take.
more.
There's a lot there.
No, I couldn't agree more, and definitely want to emphasize that Coach Smith is 100% working in bounds of NCAA regulations and rules. John?
His guys weren't working in bounds during the race. No, but in all seriousness, you know, I do agree. It was an interesting moment for sure. I will commend the entire NCAA for giving us so much to talk about on a championship weekend. Thank you, coaches. Thank you, athletes, for providing so much of the drama. But I mean, I think you're right. I think they're playing within the rules, and whether we like the rules or not, you know, it's up to the NCAA and NCAA coaches to change them. And until then, I mean, we got to play with what we're dealt here. And what's interesting is like you have teams that are really buying into this strategy of going all in on internationals. What I'm not seeing is a dominant strategy working on the reverse front, right? And I think there are some schools, there are definitely, I can name a few, that are trying to implement a strategy where they're like, screw that, we're just going to only recruit Americans. I think it's only a matter of time. You know, I don't want to really use BYU as an example because that's not a really fair example, but I want to think about, I think there's eventually going to be a time in the next few years where you're going to have a really strong American team made up of individuals who were either decided to not go to one of these schools because they knew they had a lot of internationals, or decided, you know, we're going to band together a little bit, like a few transfers, and you're just going to get an American dominant team, right? Like, it sounds like I'm just speaking in hypotheticals because I kind of am. But eventually you're going to get a team of 7 25-year-old men, Americans, that go out and win a national title, and no one's going to have a problem with it. So I don't know. I agree. There needs to be a rule change, but there hasn't been a rule change. So let's play ball. Let's race. Rocky Hansen loved it. We asked Rocky Hansen after the race, like, what do you think about the international conversation? He said, it makes me better. Like, I'm racing the best in the world. I'm not just racing America's best. And so he's getting experience in international racing at the collegiate level, which is going to make him better when he does eventually go pro.
That's a great point.
100%. Chrissy?
Guys, I don't know. I feel like we could start a podcast just talking about this.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I'm gonna try and keep my thoughts as concise as possible because I could spend all day talking about this. Like, I feel like it's such a complex issue. But like Bryan said, like the international athletes at NCAA is nothing new. Like, are we seeing it more prevalent now? Sure. But it's like this is nothing new. You know, and you talk about like, oh, like if some people took Eyestone's comments to be a shot at Dave Smith and like calling him a cheap coach or whatever, like let's not forget, like Dave Smith has kind of been the, you know, he's been it. Like, he's been a tremendous coach for years, like before this whole like you know, seeing international athletes come in higher numbers. Like, and if he wants to stay at the top, and if he's a great coach, but he's also a great recruiter. And so he has two really great strengths that he's bringing together to keep himself at the top of the game. But I don't know. I'm of both minds. I'm very much in favor of international athletes coming over. I mean, America's supposed to be the land of opportunities, and this is their opportunity to make a better life for themselves and their families. Like, I love that. You know, I think that's amazing. I think they should have those opportunities. If I were to be a coach, I would probably go the route of not recruiting international athletes. If they wanted to come, I would totally love to have them. But my focus would be on, you know, growing the homegrown talent, and that's only because I'm super biased because I know that's what my first college coaches did. I was not a super big name. I'd run when they recruited me. I'd run 2:15, 10:50, and 4:57, and I'd never broken 18 in cross country. I'd run like 18:20, and I don't even know if you could have a spot on some of these P5 teams now these days with those times, you know. But they took a chance on me and developed me. So I would love to pay that forward and do that to other people. I'm very much in favor of both though. Like I get both sides. I get wanting to develop homegrown talent, and I get, you know, wanting to work with the best in the world. And I'm also in agreement with what it was Rocky said. But also who else said that? I saw Yassine Abdallah said something similar where he was like, I loved it. Like it made me better, you know? And these kids coming up to the NCAA, this is our system to develop American athletes. I feel like this helps them on the global stage where this is our, you know, these are future Team USA athletes, right? And when they get to the global stage and they make their first world team, their first Olympic team, like competing with the best in the world is going to be nothing new to them because that's like what their upbringing was in the sport. You know what I mean? So, it's definitely a very, very complex issue. I think people who want limits are totally fair and valid, but I think the people who are bringing the athletes over, I think that's totally fine. I don't know. I feel like I can see both sides. I don't know. I feel like I should just stop there because, like I said, I would talk forever and I would take all our show time, and we don't need to do that. But yeah.
I think you made fair points on both sides, though. I do like that open perspective of, you know, I developed into the athlete that I am today because I was taking a chance on, and the fact that, you know, maybe if you are going to go out and get a bunch of international talent, there are people that potentially, you know, might not get the opportunities that the Chrissy Gears of the world got to prove themselves and become a top tier NCAA talent and, you know, professional athlete now. So it's interesting.
I do feel like the biggest concern.
Sorry.
John, send us also
Okay, I just really quickly. I feel like a big concern when we see young athletes running really elite times is like, what does this mean for the future? Like, are they going to be able to continue this, you know? And I feel like there's so much pressure on these kids now to try and, you know, make it to their dream team, to run for the Arkansas, to run for the Oregons, to run for the BYUs of the world, that they feel like they have to be going and running, you know, sub 17 minutes out of high school to be able to stand a chance against these international athletes. So, you know, so then I feel like you have that double-edged sort of like, well, okay, we get these kids running faster younger, but it's like, what does that mean for their long-term development? I think that's kind of a big question mark. Like, we don't have the answers to that, you know?
Definitely. You know what, let's move on, though, to what we have in terms of our biggest surprises, most impressive. We're going to do a quick around the horn. Just give it to me straight. Let's see. Who should I start with? Brian, you want to start again?
Man, keep doing this to me. No, let John
he said
start.
No.
John has a good one.
John,
to start.
give me your...
I still have been trying to like dig through the results and wrap my head around everything, to be completely honest. So I didn't really have one for this one. I'll be completely honest. But John, you take it and I'll figure out something.
Take it away, John.
Thank God, because I was like 90% sure that Brian was going to steal my answers here. On the men's side, I'm going to go Colin Salmon was my biggest surprise, not even on our ranking entering the championship weekend. Just the guy that you think of as a midi, right? But finished 16th at nationals. Hot take here. He needs to ditch the 1500. He needs to ditch the 800, and he needs to jump up to the 5K, 10K, because I think he's proven that he's a much better runner over those distances, even though he made the Olympic trials in the 1500 and finished extremely well there in 2024. And then on the women's side, I'm going to go Ali Zealand, another runner that we had ranked. I actually don't have that note here, but we had her ranked, I think, 33rd, and she finished 21st at nationals. She didn't even qualify for nationals last year, and then she also only finished 5th at her regional championship. So shout out to her for a strong finish this weekend.
All right, Chrissy.
Yeah, so on the women's side, I feel like an obvious one, which is probably going to get brought up, so I won't. Like, obviously, Riley Chamberlain had a great race. I'd imagine someone else will talk about that. But I want to give a quick shout out to Iska Chelangat. I think we had her ranked starting in the 30th throughout the season. She's kind of come up, been around the 20s. And she ran a very impressive race to take 7th. So shout out Iska. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. And then on the men's side, I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise considering we gave him the Mud and Miles spotlight. But Tavon Kitchen, man.
Damn, that was mine.
Seeing him, okay, sorry. But yeah, seeing him like go up early on in the race I feel like, you see someone do that and you're like, okay, well, how long is it gonna last? Is it gonna crash and burn? And he had steadied till about, 7K in. And then I feel like, when you see him start to drop back, the thought process is like, oh, he's going to continue to drop. Like he may have overexerted himself, but he didn't. Like he was gritty as heck, And not only did he stay put over that final 3K, but he kind of like moved up. So that was really impressive. Yeah, big shout out to Tavon Kitchen. That was really quickly. I know at Furman, unless you could possibly be in like immediate score in the top 5, they tended to sit their freshmen out to prioritize development on the men's side, because going from 5K to 10K is crazy, And so for him to come in and be such a factor and so fearless and run so well as a true freshman, that was really impressive.
100%. I'm gonna expand on the one with Tavon because, he's a gritty one for sure. I think it takes a impressive amount of grit, bravery, and courage to make the move that he made. And if anything, I always say this. When you prove to yourself the type of runner that you are, that you're and the stuff that you're capable of doing, you become another type of beast. So I'm excited to see how his indoor and outdoor season pans out after the move that he made during nationals. Okay, Bryan, you ready?
I am ready. I got it.
All right.
I got it.
I better be impressed.
Collins Kiprotich from New Mexico finished 8th. John had him ranked 21st. That's a huge thing, and I think really helps contribute to New Mexico taking 2nd. Obviously, tight team battle with Oklahoma State, New Mexico, and Iowa State. I think him being so far up there in that top 10 really, really helps him out. Evans Kiplagat, also for New Mexico, ran really well in 13th. And then on the team side, which I can't believe John didn't mention this one, Eastern Kentucky. Holy cow, man. Not really a factor almost the entire season. Had some, we thought they could be good. They didn't really seem to have much during the regular season meets, and then came out of the region, was it 2nd, correct, John? And then, you threw them into the rankings at 16th. The coaches poll had them at 20th. Based on the results, they finished 9th. To have a top 10 finish from a non-Power 5 team, the only other team up there, I guess New Mexico and Northern Arizona, also non-Power 4, I guess now. So really impressive, and that's on the men's side. And since I did 2 there, I'll forgo giving a women's one. But I agree with Riley Chamberlain. I think she'd ran impressive all season, but finishing 4th overall, I was like, whoa. Before the show, I was kind of like, wow, that was a great performance out of her. So.
No, that was major. That was major. I also want to talk about, guys, we made predictions on our cross country race day show when we were all live together. So I want to revisit that and look at the predictions versus reality and ask, how did we do? I think let's start with the women's side and see what my predictions were, Bryan, John, and Chrissy's, and how this ended up. I was 0 for 2 from the field, guys. Wow. Like, you guys had at least one. Hey, but it's okay. How do you guys feel about yours?
John,
that's a clean sweep.
Yeah.
Let's go. Although I will say I went with the favorites, at least the favorites in my mind. I know Jane was a favorite in some people's portfolios, but for me, I just went with the favorites. So I was a little boring here with my picks, but boring pays, right? So we'll take it.
I like it. Chrissy?
Oh, I'm so happy with my picks, I think that it's hard when you have more than one person deserving of that first place spot, But I'm still very proud of Jane Hedinger and her race. And obviously very proud of Doris and her race too. So I don't know. Like you said earlier, I'm happy to be proved wrong.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm happy to be proved wrong. I think Doris had a phenomenal race, and that was great. And BYU, I think it was only 14 points. Was it 114 to 130? What's the math on that? Somebody meant that quick. I think Coach Taylor, I was trying to get a reaction from her video afterwards, and she just turns to the camera and she goes, "We're only this far down. Oh, why couldn't they beat us by more?" It was like a kind of thing, we were so close. It was just a little bit, and it's like, oh man, yeah. I hear you're saying because you would have got my predictions all right, but yeah, big shout out to NC State, doing what they do, and what is it, 4 of the past 5 titles? Is that what it was? That's the stat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was very wrong, but at the same time, again, we've been saying this all show. I couldn't have been happier to be wrong because, we had our reasons as to why we made the picks that we did, but then at the same time, I mean, hey, they were valid, but you know, the person on the best day had the best day. And between Doris and NC State, I do think the best women and the best team did win that day, 100%. Let's take a look at the men's, our predictions, and see how those aged. All right, so we did all have a clean sweep for Oklahoma State, but I am very happy that we did it a little better this time around. Chrissy, listen, the girls picked the boys correctly, so shout out to us. What are your thoughts on it,
I
guys?
guess none of the four of us got 4 for 4.
I know.
I think the closest is 3.
That happens. It's hard to predict. It's a hard race to predict. That's in
Yeah.
my opinion. Like I said, whoever has the day on the day.
Mm-hmm. John, what do
I
you
just
think?
want to shout out. I want to shout out the guy in our comments that was like, "Oh, John's just trying to be special with his picks," because I was really close here. I think in our like when we added in the runner-up teams, like I was like off by like 2 total picks. So I think I had who did I have? I think I had Iowa State second on the men's side, and New Mexico was obviously second. But as far as like the picks that are on your screen, I'm really hyped. I mean, Rocky Hansen, he gave a really honest, valiant fight. I felt like his performance was indicative of what I was expecting, right? And I think still to this day, like I think Hampton was always kind of the favorite, but just had to go with a gut pick, and that gut pick was Rocky on the day. He obviously didn't get it done. Hampton had a fantastic race, but I think Rocky's performance was like, okay, he could have won if things just went a little bit differently.
Okay.
But could have, should have won.
All right.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. I guess we'll never know. But what we do know is we had, like I said in the beginning of the show, me and Bryan had an opportunity to speak with Doris Lemngole and Coach Nick Shinoff, and it was such a nice conversation. We were just basically discussing how she was feeling after the race, the preparation that went into it, because obviously she's coming from a very unique situation of having ran World Championships in September, quick turnaround into cross-country season, and now we have indoor season and outdoor quickly approaching. We already know how the NCAA circuit is. And just talking about how she has been successful, how she continues to chase success, and her whole entire mindset around it. Again, you guys can catch the entire interview on YouTube, but here is a short 2-minute clip of it. Okay, guys, we definitely have a treat for y'all. We have national champion Doris Lemngole and Coach Nick Shinoff. We are so excited to talk to them because, hey, back to back, right, Bryan?
Yeah, back to back. I mean, come on. Like, what else do you have to say? She's defending that crown. It's incredible. So, yeah, bring them on.
Amazing. So without further ado, Coach Nick, Doris, hello and welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining. I think we just get right into it, right? Doris, you're fresh off World Championships with a quick turnaround to the cross-country season, ultimately defending your title in like record-setting fashion. I would love to know initially when you crossed the finish line, what were those emotions?
Yeah, it was happy night crossing that finish line after a long preparation. Yeah, it was, I can say it was special moments for me and my coaches and teammates.
Would you say that like it's really sunk in yet? Like what you've done, like defending your title and just being able to accomplish all that you've accomplished. I mean, you know, the fastest time over 6K. You know, just walk me through that. Like, has it sunk in? Have you guys talked it over yet? Like, just the accomplishment that you've been able to achieve.
I mean, what I know right now is like my coaches, my teammates are so happy about it. You know, we've been preparing so much for Nick, more so. You know, I can say it's just happy moment and still talking about it and yeah, pretty much.
Great conversation with Doris, great conversation with Coach Nick. I just wanted to talk to him more and more and more. And something that stood out to me when, you know, we were talking off air is he was just really emphasizing that this competition is so great and it's so healthy for the sport, especially women's sports. People love the competitive rivalries. People love the storylines. And if anything, it's just going to continue to grow cross country, track and field, running, period. So I think him and Doris are great representatives of that. Bryan, do you have any thoughts on that before we move on?
No, it's great talking to them. Like I said, I've known Coach Nick for a long time. It's phenomenal what he's been able to do with the Alabama program in general, and not just Doris. I mean, obviously we see the fruits of his labor through Doris and what she's been able to accomplish, but the whole Alabama program as a whole, I really truly believe is on the rise. And obviously, you know, him and head coach Dan Waters, obviously the men taking 6th overall was huge as well. So really cool to see.
100%. And again, you guys can watch the entire interview separately on YouTube. But moving on, our final Mud in the Mile spotlight of the season, guys, as we wrap up for the season. Bryan Kamuta, I hope I'm not butchering your name, but here is the video of him after his race. Yeah, literal mud in miles. You can't even see the EKU on his singlet. How do you guys feel about that? I see both you, Chrissy, and John. You guys are smiling over there. John, I'll start with you. Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry. I'm just going to go from the top there. Okay. Yeah, it looks like he ate it hard. Like, I want to know where he fell, and I hope someone got, like, a clip of it, because he completely spilled out, but still finished, what did he finish, top 20?
He was 21st, 28:53.
21st, sorry.
21st.
21st after eating it and coming
baby.
back and finishing with a 2:52 last K. I think he fell at the 6K mark. That was his slowest K. About 10 seconds slower than the one before that and the one after that. So I would imagine that's where he lost his 10 seconds. But
yeah.
If you add those 10 seconds back, I mean, he's like finishing top 10. So really strong performance from him. And like you said earlier, led EKU to a huge 9th place finish.
He had to have slid with it too. You don't get that from just tripping up and falling and getting splat. Like he had to like fell like this and slid a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think, Chrissy?
Yeah, I don't have anything else more to add. Past John's remarks, I thought they were very good. I was impressed with him as a freshman, you know, leading his team, especially with that. And I think literally getting mud on him, I mean, it's true to the mud and miles, you know. So couldn't ask for a better person to receive that.
Nice
that award this week.
Bryan, anything else before I move on?
Nope, keep it going.
Period. All right, so as you guys know, all season we've been talking about stashies at Nashies. Now our stash of the year has gone to Tomer Tarragano of University of North Carolina. And here is that lovely stash. He was awarded this during NCAA National Championships when we were on the ground doing our live HOKA XC race day show. So congratulations, Tomer. That Tar Heel has a hell of a stash, and super happy that he ultimately got the prize. So guys, that's it for the season. College cross country is done, and we are on to indoor season. It's been amazing chatting with y'all from pre-nats, from nutty comb to now we're here. And I have to say, I also am very happy that I was wrong about you and John's stashes. You guys proved me wrong. I was trolling you guys all season. I didn't believe in you. Way to go.
Hey, John, when can we expect the too early team predictions and individual? When are we seeing that list come out, baby? Baby buddy.
Give me a week. Give me a week to digest and think about some other things outside of cross country. But I think that's gonna be fun because they're so speculative of like trying to figure out like who is even returning, who's gonna go pro. Gary Martin's not coming back. Don't know where he's going, but I guess he's going pro or
he's a senior.
Or something. I don't know if he has eligibility.
He's a senior on cross country, according to the results.
Well, looking forward to hopefully seeing some crazy cross country action next year.
I'm very excited. Chrissy, what are you excited about? Same time next year?
Same time next year. Y'all have me back. I'd love to be back on. This has been a blast all season.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on. We need to get you in Austin, girl. That's what I
I'll
want.
come, dude. I'll come do a little sea level stint down there. I love Austin.
Oh, yay. Okay, time to get some wheels turning, time to talk to some people. But all in all, it's been a blast hanging out with you guys. It's been a blast talking to you guys. Please, guys, comment anything that you'd want to see. What did you like? What didn't you like? Because if anything, we just want to make this show even better for you and deliver cross country to you in the best way we can. We want to be a resource. But until then, all right, on to indoor. Ready or not, here it comes. Okay, bye, guys.